Good afternoon, everyone. I am Tanya Love, and welcome to the Tanya Love Show. Today, I am feeling inspired to tune in and connect with each of you on the importance of shedding our ego self. And I know I've done shows on this in the past, but the reason I'm feeling it's important to come back to this subject, and it may happen many times, is because it's something that we're really needing to address as a society and as individuals. And until we do address it individually, it's going to just keep happening. It's going to keep on rippling out to others and causing a lot of disruption in our personal well-being, in our personal relationships, our families. It could be with our business partnerships. And basically, the importance of releasing ego it's pretty much our number one priority at this time. If we're really wanting to shift things as a society and we're wanting to have a more beautiful life experience, we all need to address our own ego, and we need to be aware of it. Some of us maybe aren't even aware of what that means, but it's this part of our psyche that can really convince us that it's who we are and that we are under the influence of our mind, and that the mind is in charge of us, it's in control of us. And many humans operate this way throughout their life, where they really identify with this sense of the psyche that they've created based on what they feel close and connected to. And it can really start to create issues in their overall experience when they're identifying with these negative, disruptive parts of their mind. So an example would be, you have a person who, they're pretty healthy externally, they look pretty healthy and they seem pretty happy, but internally their mind is always telling them that they're not good enough. Their mind's always telling them that, you could never do that, you're not worthy of that. And no matter what that human may do externally, there's that battle that's going on internally, and it really creates issues long term. And from my perspective as a healer at a soul level, I'm assisting with the healing, I see how it can really devastate the true life potential of a soul, of what it came here to give and to share. And so if we can tune in and be aware of that part of our ego self, and not judge it, not be, angry or aggressive about the fact we have one, because every single one of us listening to this show today has an ego self. And there's some of us that have become really good at discerning the ego voice and silencing it, just kind of ignoring it, and then turning our focal point and our awareness to our soul's voice, our intuition, our inner voice, our inner wisdom. And we have the potential to tune into either voice. Oops, sorry, my mic is not hooked. I just realized, and it's caught in my hair. But we have the opportunity to connect with either voice, and really it's up to us on where we place our focus on what we're going to experience. So for some of us that, we're just caught up in the doubts and the fears and the neediness of ourselves, we're going to really struggle and be consumed with ego, and that can be very disruptive to us for reaching our highest goals and our potential. So one of the things I want to address is the inner voice, that inner part of ourselves, because as a healer, when I'm tuning into clients and I'm, being shown and guided on different energy centers that are being blocked in their body and different spaces that need to be cleared so that they will align with their optimal health again. One of the things I'm noticing is how many of us have these wounds inside. We have this wounded sense of self, and many of us are really good at hiding that and kind of, putting up big walls so that no one can get in there and know that there's these wounds. And it takes us so much energy to protect the wounds that we have. So if you can think of your wounded parts as a splinter. So think of when you were a child, you felt betrayed or disappointed by your parents in some way. And that betrayal, that wound of betrayal was birthed in that moment as a child. And then years later, you've had these relationship issues and they keep happening. It's like this pattern that you keep attracting and co-creating, where you'll draw in partnerships that end up with betrayal, where the end result is that person ends up betraying you. And it happens again and again. So this would be an amazing opportunity for a client to see that pattern, first of all, and just be like, wow, there's this pattern there. I wasn't aware of that before. And then to not do any more work to protect that splinter, that woundedness, but rather to work with a healer to assist you in pulling the splinter out, to remove the splinter. So like in an auric clearing, the angels and I are doing in essence is we're clearing the energetic patterns, we're removing the splinters. And when those splinters have been removed, the energy shifts and the frequency in that human shifts. So if you think of how you are vibration, your energy, and when you're wounded, you're putting out a frequency that is connected to that woundedness. You're putting out a signal to all that, hey, I have a wound of betrayal and abandonment, and so come on over here and abandon and betray me. And you don't realize that you're doing that because it's very unconscious in most of us. But it's a signal that's being emitted from you in a frequency. And so as a healer, what I help to assist clients with is to tune in and find those splinters, those wounds, and to trace back. Sometimes the angels will be very clear on where they came from and help the client to see where the root issue started. And what the point of that is not to dwell on it. Like in traditional therapy, you would go to a therapist, and I've gone to therapy in the past, where you sit there and they talk to you about, they ask you questions about your life, and you talk about your problems, and you talk about all the things that you've been through. But it just like it's talking. We're just talking about the problems. We're talking about the problems. And eventually, when I was going to therapy, I just got kind of tired of talking about the problems, so I left. Now, I didn't necessarily feel anything change for myself except for that someone, listened to my problems. The difference between that and an auric clearing is that we're not talking about problems. We're tuning in to find out what's going on at that vibrational level to address it, and then to pull the splinter out, or the energetic cord, if you will, and cut that and clear it, so that it leaves your vibration. It's no longer a part of the frequency that you're sending out any longer. And the reason that that's so important is because as we shift and we go into a higher vibration, we are going to start drawing in higher vibrational experiences, opportunities, people, all will start to be drawn in because we are now in a higher frequency. When there's, say, a woman that's been abused several times, she's been molested or raped and, had terrible relationships, and she, in her frequency, sends out this signal that I am a victim. Come and victimize me. She doesn't realize she's doing that necessarily, but her energy is just totally advertising it. No matter what she's wearing, no matter how she's behaving, she's got an energy to her. So when that gets healed and she shifts and clears and removes those splinters of woundedness, she now is in a higher vibration, higher frequency, and she won't be drawing those beings to her any longer. And you can really tell quickly if you've actually released and resolved an issue, a wound, because once you've really cleared that wound, you no longer should be drawing those energies to you any longer. So you may see them in the world, you may observe them, but they won't be coming to you in a way to cause you suffering. So if you are right now in your life's experiencing drama in some way, you're experiencing someone who's betraying you, or you're experiencing that, here's that relationship, another one where I'm getting let down, people are taking from me, whatever it is, if you're experiencing this is a sign that there's still some kind of resistance inside of you. There's still some kind of a part of that splinter, that woundedness, that still needs to be cleared and released. So as you have the courage to redo that releasing, you're going to feel a shift, and you will start to notice that there will be a shift in you right away. When I'm working with clients, they right after the session, they will say, I just feel so peaceful, and they will come to me in very heightened anxiety states. Most clients, not all clients, but a lot of them, when they come for the first time, they're just kind of like, what is this? It's new. I'm just getting to know you. I'm tuning into you and reading your energy. And I'm reading theirs as well. And we're just both kind of like getting to know each other. And they come in and they're nervous. They're a little anxious because this is new. They know that they've got vulnerability and they're going to have someone looking into that. And so that takes huge courage. And I salute every soul that has the courage to step in, because it is a vulnerable place. And I salute that, and I understand it. And I've had to go there myself before I could even be a healer that could assist. I had to do my own healing. And so when I see them struggling in that way and they're in that anxiety, and then an hour goes by and we're at the end of the session and they've shifted, they're just like amazed by it, of how calm their minds are, they're clear, how relaxed they feel, and how at peace. What my purpose is in helping clients with this healing work is to help them to clear those splinters and to help them shift their frequency to a vibration of peace and calm. When we are in a state of ease, everything we desire comes to us very easily, very naturally. We just vibrationally attract everything that we need and desire to us, and it comes easily. When we are in a state of anxiety, we are, in essence, overtaken by the ego. So a quick way to explain ego so that we can start understanding that is that ego, whenever in your mind you're feeling a sense of resistance, you're feeling a sense of lack in some way, you are an ego. If you're ever in a state where you're feeling great fear, anxiety, you're an ego. So those are things that you can look for in your feeling, in your emotional feelings, to know if you're being triggered and consumed by ego. Now, it isn't that you need to fight that and, have an argument about like, oh, how do I make that stop? It's more just a state of awareness. So if, for example, you are about to go, talk to someone that you really love, and you need to open up to them about something, but you're nervous, you're anxious about if it's going to come out right and if they're going to still love you for speaking your truth. If you go in that state of anxiety and you start to speak to them, most likely it's not going to go so well, because you are in a state of ego. You're already in fear. You are identifying with the fear. You're identifying with the fact that there's something maybe wrong. And so energetically, you're going to call that experience to you. So these are the conversations that we have where then that person gets set off and they're angry and they lash out, and then we're lashing out and we're angry. And it just really turns into a big ego fest, and just two egos eating off each other's energy. And it can become really ugly really fast. And most of us have had these experiences to know exactly what I'm talking about. However, there is another option. An alternative way is to the reason I am so honored to be a part of the angelic realm and assisting them is that working with angels is amazing, and it will change everything in your life when you take the moment and the time to actually pause before going into action. So another example of how we can handle that important discussion with a loved one is we could pause before we go there and just tune in and kind of close our eyes and feel our heart space and just call in our angels. I love to work with Archangel Michael and Ariel as far as when I'm going to speak on things that I need courage or strength. I just thank them for filling me with confidence, to help me come from a place of compassion and understanding. And I thank Michael for clearing me of all ego and clearing the one that I'm going to speak to of all ego. So it could be that I'm talking to one person, maybe it's a job interview and there's several people I'm going to interact with. I'll thank my angels for preparing that environment before I ever even arrive. I'll thank them for clearing the egos of everyone involved so that we can all see each other. And I'll set that intention that I will be seen, that they will be seen, and that we will all speak and communicate from our authentic highest place. And so